Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're talking about how artificial intelligence is doing more than just creating new gadgets. It's actually rewriting the entire playbook of global power. So let's just jump right in with the big question from our source material. What if all this stuff, AI, advanced robotics, isn't just another tech trend, but something that is fundamentally reorganizing what it even means for a nation to be powerful?
And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi idea we're talking about. The sources are really clear on this. This is a potentially enormous shift, and it's happening right now, completely reshaping the contest between nations.
To really wrap our heads around this, we need a new way of looking at the world. So let's explore this idea of the geopolitical stack.
You know, for centuries, power was pretty straightforward. It was built on things you could see: land, how many people you had, your industrial might. Those things absolutely still matter, don't get me wrong. But now, they're being filtered through a completely new set of foundations: raw computing power, access to massive amounts of energy, and robotics.
And all of that leads to this new form of power, which the source material calls cognitive industrial power. It's a fancy term, but the idea is simple. It is not enough to just have the smartest AI in a lab somewhere. True advantage comes from combining that machine intelligence with the ability to actually do things in the real world, to build, to manufacture, to execute.
And here's how it all fits together, like a set of building blocks. At the very bottom, you've got the physical stuff: energy, raw materials. On top of that, you build the hardware, the chips and data centers. Then comes the software layer, the powerful AI models. And finally, that intelligence gets deployed back into the physical world through robots and industry. Real power means having control across this entire stack.
Okay, so let's dig into that a little deeper, because this is where a lot of people kind of get AI wrong. This new kind of power is surprisingly physical. It's time we debunk the software myth.
Yeah, this quote absolutely nails it. I think most of us tend to think of AI as this weightless thing that just lives in the cloud, right? Pure code. But that is a huge mistake. The reality is, AI is anchored to a foundation of massive, expensive, physical stuff. We're talking about giant semiconductor plants, sprawling data centers that drink electricity like a small city, the power plants to feed them, and the factories that build the robots. AI power is, at its core, infrastructural power.
So what does this all mean? Well, it suggests that leadership in this new era might not come from who has the most creative software engineers. Instead, it might just come down to who can physically build all this infrastructure: the data centers, the power grids, the chip fabs, fast enough. The race is becoming very, very material.
Now, when you have a technological shift this big, it's going to have profound consequences for people, for society. So what does this new world mean for human labor?
For the last few decades, globalization has been a pretty simple story, right? Companies move factories to places where labor was cheapest. But in a world where advanced robots are doing the work, that entire logic gets turned on its head. Suddenly, the value of cheap labor could plummet, while the value of capital, energy, and top-tier engineering talent just skyrockets.
And the ripple effects here are just massive. For poorer countries, that traditional path to development could get a lot narrower. For aging societies, though, it could be a lifeline, a way to stay productive. But for everyone, it creates this huge risk of widening the gap between those who own the robots and those who used to do the jobs, putting a ton of stress on governments.
And this is the real tightrope walk, isn't it? This quote captures that paradox perfectly. A country can use AI to become way stronger on the world stage, but at the exact same time, if the benefits aren't shared, it can become fragile and unstable at home. So this isn't just theory. You can see this playing out right now in the real world. And the biggest arena for this new kind of competition is, of course, the contest between the United States and China. And when you look at them side by side, you see it's not a mere match at all. The US and China are bringing completely different strengths to this competition. The US has the edge in things like the most advanced AI models, complex chip design, and cloud computing. China, on the other hand, brings its massive manufacturing base, incredible state coordination, and a huge push into robotics.
And this is probably the most important thing to understand. This competition isn't just about who has the smartest algorithm. It's much, much bigger than that. It's about who can best weave that digital intelligence into their entire national productive system, from the factory floor to the supply chain to national defense.
All right, let's pull all these threads together. We're looking at a brand new reality here, where the map of global power is getting a whole lot more complex.
The big takeaway is this: the great game between nations, the contest for influence,
is now being played inside this technological stack. The fight is over the chips, the data, the algorithms, and the robots.
So that's where we'll leave it. The old map of the world, the one with countries and borders, it's still there, of course. But on top of it, all these new powerful layers are being built, and they're getting denser and more important every single day. The defining question for our century might just be, who's going to control them?